welcome back to PSA TV. This is the Wake Up Call segment here with me, Christy Kalising, and on set I've got with me the founder of Trinidad Weddings, Mrs. Simone Sant. Ghuran?
Correct.
Your surname looks like, something to eat, like an Indian delicacy.
Really?
Like, I think
That's a first.
It's gulab jamun.
Okay.
It's like, it's probably just me because I like to eat, so I don't know. And as we know, July is the season for weddings, so we have few on set. So good morning, and how are you this morning?
I am good. Thanks for having me, Christy.
Yes. How was your journey down this morning?
It was okay. No traffic. School is out, so that's a good thing.
One of the celebratory periods we have. We should appreciate July to August. All right. So you've been in the wedding industry for quite a while.
Quite a while. 15 years.
15 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
It is.
What has inspired you to, first of all, get involved in this industry?
Well, I actually was in the corporate world for about 7 or 8 years. My background is marketing, PR. I started actually off in HR as well, so it's a bit of a mix. And so I was there for a while, maybe not quite enjoying it as much, coming down to the end. And I wanted to do something on my own. So I took a year off to sort of figure out what I wanted to do. And I came up with the idea of having a wedding website in Trinidad and Tobago because we didn't have anything like that at the time. Remember, this is 15 years ago. So what we had at the time...
So you would have been one of the first people to even do that?
We were the first. We were the first wedding website in Trinidad and Tobago. Because at the time, what was happening in the industry was just like newspaper classifieds, random shows here and there, but it wasn't really I wouldn't say it was a cohesive wedding industry. So we started off a wedding website to basically promote the vendors in the industry to the couples who were getting married because they couldn't find information anywhere else. So that was the whole objective of the site, and eventually we expanded. We started to do bridal events. We went into publishing, so we published the Trinidad Weddings magazine. It has expanded beyond the initial website.
And how has it been from 15 years later? How has it been so far?
Yeah, well, the industry has really evolved. I would say we were really sort of, in the beginning, very small, a hodgepodge sort of industry. Now, I think we are a little more cohesive. We have, a number of vendors who maybe tend to work together. We have synergies among suppliers. It's really nice to see how it has come along. We still have a way to go in terms of, getting more industry standards in, because as you know, anybody could wake up tomorrow and decide they want to be an event promoter or a fete promoter or event planner, and really there are no industry standards to prevent that. So we want to, what I want to do actually, and we've started a sort of a small group so far, and you'll hear more about it later on, I suppose, where we are trying to standardize the industry in terms of, professionalism, standards, entry requirements, things like that.
And how have you been enjoying it so far?
I love what I do. I think it's a great mix between business, because what we do is, offer advertising support to event suppliers and wedding industry professionals, and we promote them to the brides. So we have a sort of a dual market where we deal with the vendors and we deal with the couples. So it's very exciting that way. We have two customer groups, and it's very challenging to try to appeal to both to both groups and keep them interested, keep them engaged. And
you switch from corporate to entrepreneurship. Now that is something that a lot of people may not be able to transition into. You come with this corporate mentality, but now you're on your own. How has that been for you?
It was difficult. I can't say that it was a piece of cake. I would say for all entrepreneurs, the first 2 to 3 years are sort of like your teething years, your sort of toddler years where you try to figure everything out. I was a bit maybe more exposed to entrepreneurship because my parents were entrepreneurs. Okay. They were both
so
bankers.
It's in you.
Right. They were both bankers who left banking to open their own business. I mean, of course, this is many years ago, but so I grew up in the family business, and I think things like that helped me along. And plus, I also, and I would recommend this for any entrepreneur, you know, to link up with people more experienced than you, link up with people who are in other industries, so people in accounting, people in legal, because there's advice that they could give you that you will never have from the get-go, or that you need, you know, help with. So.
And you've also been a writer for The Guardian?
Yeah, I used to write for the Trinidad Guardian, their wedding column, for about 11 years. So now you could find my articles on trinidadweddings.com and some on looptt.com.
Yes, I do remember a recent article where you were talking about budgeting for a wedding.
Yes.
In today's world, or in this country today, where, you know, there's a lot of unemployment, retrenchments, has that impacted on weddings?
Yeah, on various fronts. You have people now trying to get qualified to be in the industry as, say, like a wedding planner or wedding coordinator. So you have that. People who are, you know, without jobs, who are trying now to retrain themselves, or, you know, to get into the industry. And then you have, on the other side, the brides and the grooms trying to cope with maybe more limited budgets and how they're going to deal with that, you know, because the thing is, you know, prices keep rising. So I would always recommend to couples, if, you know, you're planning a wedding on a budget, the first place that you have to cut, unfortunately, is the guest list. So you get your numbers down, and then things could come down from that. But if you're trying to plan a wedding for 500 people on a limited budget, it's going to be not the best quality, you know, versus if you try to plan for 75. Although I know culturally that's very hard. We have big families, we have neighbors, we have colleagues. It's quite a challenge, but I would definitely say if you want to cut your budget, definitely cut your guest list.
On an average, what would you say is the cost for an average wedding?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question to answer, although I could answer it a little bit. I'll answer it from our data that we have, right? Yeah. So, of course, an average wedding varies for anybody, right? Because it depends on, you know, what your food and beverage is, where your venue is, what the duration is, and all that. But on average, the majority of girls who register on our mailing list have budgets between 40 to 60,000 overall, TT. Yeah.
That is relatively doable, I think.
It is doable, but we do have girls who have budgets below that, and of course girls who have budgets way above that. So we have a wide cross-section of girls who come to the website looking for information, looking for suppliers. So we try to cater to all the different budgets. And what we also do is something called Bride University, which is a workshop for brides who want to plan their wedding but may not be able to afford a full-time planner. So what they could do is come to our workshop. We guide you through the budgeting, we guide you through contracts, all of those things. So at the end of it, you're feel a little more comfortable heading out there to do it on your own.
I would have seen a tweet from you, if I'm not mistaken, about Hilton coming on board with you.
Yes. So Hilton joined us yesterday. So what we do, as I said, is offer promotional opportunities to event suppliers, venues, if you provide something to the wedding industry. So if you do cakes, wedding favors, all of that, we do have packages to help you promote yourself to our audience. Yeah.
Very, very interesting there.
Yeah.
The wedding industry is something that most people may not know about it.
Right.
What are some of the pros, first of all, of being in an industry like that?
Right. In terms of like a supplier side, okay. Pros. Well, I think you get exposed to, well, especially in Trinidad, a wide range of different ceremonies. I mean, because we are so multicultural, I mean, you find wedding planners have to know what goes into Islamic wedding, what goes into Hindu wedding, what goes into, you know, a Christian wedding. So I think that is definitely a pro. It keeps you current and keeps you on the ball. Cons, you asked me about cons. On flip side, I think where Where we tend to fall short as an industry, maybe with the training and upgrading of skills, because what we tend to do is get so caught up with the everyday, and we have a wedding this weekend, we have a wedding next weekend, and we don't take the time to reskill ourselves and take courses, work with a mentor, things like that.
So we just limit ourselves with whatever we get into the industry. We stay just like
we keep going on the same routine, which is not healthy and not productive. Because I do go to a lot of shows abroad, bridal shows, wedding industry shows, and they constantly train, retrain. There's
it's like
new
technology.
Right, new technology that comes out for the industry. All of these things that we need to keep abreast of that we may not be doing. And I think sometimes, and I might get some flack for this, but sometimes I think we tend to think we know it all, but we don't, right? And the only way to really figure out how much you know is to be exposed to other people who know. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges facing the industry as is?
Right. The major challenge would have been what I had said at the beginning, where what I call there are no barriers to entry.
Yes.
And so what we have then is a wide range of people with varying skill levels in the industry. So we have from the below amateur to the professionals. Now what this tends to do is create a little price war with brides not knowing or not being able to discern, the experience or quality levels, and just maybe buying on price alone, which I would totally not recommend because especially for certain categories, for example, photography and videography, if you go with an amateur and you get bad results, there are no do-overs, right? So I would say, in certain categories, do not buy based on price. You have to buy based on value and the value that you get afterwards, especially, right? So
in an economy that has been faced with a lot of challenges, do you see people putting out as much as they used to in terms of, bulk spending for weddings? Do you see it happening as often?
There are, it really varies. There are those couples who, will spend above and beyond their families because, it's a once in a lifetime occasion, maybe the only daughter, the only son. They splash out. And then you have, the other couples who try to budget and try to negotiate and try to maybe do a different format wedding. So they may have a brunch wedding to sort of cut back on the cost. They may have a weekday wedding to save on venue costs because some venues might be cheaper during the week. So things like that. So we do have, varying levels. We have the lavish, extravagant weddings, and we also have the budget-conscious weddings too.
What, in your opinion, is your favorite wedding so far?
Gosh, my favorite wedding was one I went to last year, and it was from a couple we had featured in our magazine. We featured their proposal story.
Okay.
And it's so lovely when we feature couples and they invite me to their weddings. I hardly know these people, but it's nice to know that they have a connection with the brand, and they invited me. And it was, what I loved about that wedding was it was so heartfelt. Like some weddings you go to, you feel, okay, it's just like a production.
Yeah.
But this one, I don't know, it just had so much meaning. You saw the families interact with each other. It really was like a combining of, families, and I love that wedding. Yeah.
What are some of the different careers in the wedding industry?
Right.
What can someone get involved in?
Well, it's vast, because if you go from the supplier and you could go, choose like from catering, makeup artistry, fashion design, lighting and special effects, so you have those sort of subcategories. But in terms of wedding planning, there's like, you could be like a wedding coordinator, you could be a wedding planner. A planner is different from a coordinator because a planner envisages the whole production, right? So they come up with the theme, the theme, T-H-E-M-E, and the team, T-E-A-M. They come up with both, and they help you plan and implement the whole production, right? So a coordinator typically will work with you on the day itself, but they tend to work with you 2 to 4 weeks in advance of the wedding. Even though they do show up on the day, they will work with you a few weeks in advance typically because they need to work out your schedules for your vendors and things like that. So they are really there to help make the day less stressful, right? And then you have wedding consultants, which is what I would do, where if you need advice, you pay an hourly fee and I help guide you, and then you go off and you execute. Yeah.
Now, July has been traditionally known as the month in which weddings in Trinidad kicks off.
Yes.
Has it been busy thus far?
Yeah, what you find is many weddings happen, I would say, in Trinidad and Tobago, June, July, August. I think because a lot of people might be like on holiday, or their family from abroad might be on holiday. So then another pocket, we have the Easter weddings, and then we have the end of year weddings. So the November, December weddings also. So I would say 3 pockets of, wedding times.
Has the economic downturn affected the industry in any way?
I think there are a lot of people who are coming into the industry because of the economic downturn. Okay. And remember, social media sort of makes it a little bit easier for people to start off now. Yeah. So you find a lot of people starting up Facebook pages with, say, rentals or, again, wedding planning and things like that. So I would just caution brides and grooms to get testimonials, get references. Not that the new people in the industry
you can't do over your wedding.
Right. Not that the new people in the industry are not good, but you have to do your own vetting. And the only way to do that is to get testimonials and references.
So tell me a little bit about the articles that you all issue. I'm seeing it once a year.
Yes, so we are an annual magazine, and the magazine is available on trinidadweddings.com/shop. So you could purchase online. So the articles that we feature, we do a big section called Real Weddings. So different couples and how they plan their wedding, what was unique. We tend to do the maybe not so traditional stories. So if you've had your wedding in a unique venue, if you had a unique theme or something like that.
Okay, I'm seeing it on the website there. We have, that is the 2018 issue.
Right.
Let me just add that I love her eyebrows.
Yes, they're both beautiful girls.
Yeah.
And one of our philosophies is that the girls who appear on our covers are real brides. So we try as much as possible to keep that authenticity with the covers, especially.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Is there a cost attached to the articles?
It depends. For advertisers who want to promote themselves, there's a cost, but not for couples. Couples submit to us on trinidadweddings.com, and then we, at the end of a few months, then we select which couples we want to feature.
Tell us about your journey thus far. How has it been for you personally?
Right. I mean, it has been fairly incredible because when I started off, which was 15 years ago, we started off with a website only, and the website was actually only 6 pages. It was a tiny website because it was a tiny idea at that time, and then eventually, it started to build some momentum. Vendors started to, ask us to be featured, and it grew and grew and grew. I mean, now the website is hundreds of pages, and I have, spoken internationally at bridal shows and wedding industry events. It has taken me to a place I didn't really think it was going to go, because in the beginning I just thought, okay, we'd have this website and we'd have some information, but it has taken me almost into a part of, being an advocate for the wedding industry itself, so it's very interesting.
I know you were talking about a group of you who were planning to form.
Yeah, we've started a little association. I can't say the name right now just yet, but we are working as a team to try to, set industry standards and things like that, and maybe network more with the industry. Yeah.
What would you say is the favorite part of planning a wedding for you?
For me, I actually like to work out the team with the couple and work out the background logistics, the schedule, and on the day see it all come together. So that's my favorite part. Like, I see all the plans materialize. Yeah.
What would be some advice you have for probably young people coming into this industry?
Right. Young people coming into this industry, I would say align yourself with experience. don't be afraid to reach out to, the established professionals in the industry. Most of us are very open to, chatting, helping, advising, because we have been there, right? So align with experience, keep reskilling, retraining. Never think that you know everything, because every wedding I do, every event I do, I still learn. I still learn things that maybe I might have missed, or things to improve, right? So that's how it is in this industry. The more events you do, just the more experience you get, and just better you get at it, right? So and definitely try to, I think, work with experience media like ourselves, like TrinidadWeddings.com. I mean, we have been in the industry for 15 years, so there are a number of ways we could assist entrepreneurs who want to get into the industry, whether it might be website, whether it might be magazine, whether it might be participating in one of our events, right? So, and a number of budget ranges too, so we cater for everybody. So I would say definitely reach out to us if you want to get into the industry, if you are fledgling in the industry and you don't know quite how to promote yourself or position yourself, we are there to help you.
In terms of the appreciation for the wedding industry,
right?
Do you see people appreciating your work, or they tend to do things on their own? Because I know there are some people who, because of I think because of the way in which the economy is, they just tend to do things on their own. Do you see it being, an appreciation or less of an appreciation now?
It depends. Culturally, again, we are sort of programmed to let the family help with events. Because, families in Trinidad tend to have a lot of events. They may have, a prayer meeting at home, they have a little birthday party, anniversary. As Trinis, we are always celebrating in some way, right? So I think couples tend to think, because they are accustomed having events at home, that a wedding is also easy. But I always say, what if something really dire happens on the day? Who is dealing with that? If electricity goes, if your cake falls, if your food runs out, who's handling that really? Because what you'll find is all of your family members, they have the best intentions, but remember, at the end of the day, they are actually guests at your wedding, right? And you can't rely on guests to sort of pull you through these sort of disastrous things that could happen, right? So I would say put it in the hands of a professional. If you hire a planner or a coordinator, that's our job. Our job is to damage control, is to not make you stress about anything, and to let the whole family enjoy the day. So,
Simone, I'm going to ask you your closing comments in terms of your advice for entrepreneurs.
Right.
So people who may have been in the corporate industry and just like yourself, you were there, and who probably wants to step away from it and into their own business, what would be your advice for them?
I would say try to get some training, but at the end of the training, so try to get some basic event management training or wedding planning training. At the end of that training, whatever it might be, of course, double check on those references. As I said before, do your research on your training provider. But then after that, you are not qualified, actually. Even though you've had your training, you are not qualified actually to run the event. You only actually get qualified, in my opinion, with experience. So you have to align yourself with somebody else who's doing events, or start doing your own and build the experience that way. Because a certificate doesn't make you qualified, and unfortunately in this industry, experience is what counts, and it's what your clients are going to ask. They're not going to actually care too much about a certificate. They're going to care about how many events you have under your belt, how many weddings you've done, and you need to have something to tell them. So I would definitely say get trained, and then get your hands-on work done.
And going back a bit to the articles, when can we expect the issuing of the 2019?
Our 2019 issue is actually going to be delivered to us today. It's very exciting. So in a few days, we will be launching our new 2019 issue. But you can also order it online at TrinidadWeddings.com/shop from next week.
All right, and so for people who may want more information from you,
Right.
this is your opportunity to share your contact information.
Right. If you need to get in touch with me, you could email me at simone@trinidadweddings.com, or you could just go to trinidadweddings.com and hit the contact us button, and I will eventually get your message and reply to you within 24 hours usually.
Usually.
Right.
Your closing comments.
Right. I just want to encourage all the brides and grooms out there to, do weddings their way. Don't feel too much social pressure. At the end of the day, it's not about everybody else, but it is about both of you. So, take your time and do things how you want them done, and don't feel too pressured by what anybody else will tell you.
All right. So I want to thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
I learned a lot about weddings. I remember telling you I am clueless about weddings.
Right.
But we'll have you on at some other point where we discuss, in depth about probably the brides
Or
and
the new
bride
issue.
and the new,
Yeah,
your
the
new
new
issue. I didn't take a look at any as yet.
Yeah.
But yes, some very Radha and Sebastian. Wow. So much love in here.
Yes.
It's a very nice article.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thanks so much, Christy.
All right, so it's on that note we have come to the end of this segment of the Wake Up Call. When we come back, we'll be joined by the political leader of the Congress of the People, Mrs. Carolyn C. Prasad Bechan. Stay with us.